Have you ever felt that strange sensation? That quiet voice inside telling you there's something more to this world than what we've been taught? A truth that seems just beyond your grasp? Albert Einstein once wrote in a letter to a friend, "The most beautiful experience we can have is the mysterious. It is the fundamental emotion that stands at the cradle of true art and true science." Yet somehow, this profound aspect of Einstein's life, his spiritual quest, his deepest revelations about human consciousness, has been carefully filtered from our textbooks, from our understanding of who he truly was. Why? Because Einstein discovered something so transformative about human potential that it threatened the very foundations of how our society functions. And that's what they didn't want you to know. I still remember sitting in my high school physics class, staring at that iconic image. Wild white hair, playful eyes, the very picture of genius. But they only taught us about E equals mc squared, about relativity, about the scientist. They never taught us about the man who wrote, "The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant." We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. What if I told you that Einstein's greatest discovery wasn't about atoms or energy or the speed of light? What if his most profound insight was about you, about the untapped power of your consciousness, your intuition, your connection to something greater? The truth is, Einstein struggled deeply throughout his life. As a child, he was considered slow, possibly autistic by today's standards. His teachers dismissed him. One even told him he would never amount to anything. Can you imagine? The greatest scientific mind of the 20th century being told he was a failure? Perhaps you've felt that too, the sting of being misunderstood, of having others fail to see what lies within you. At 16, Einstein imagined riding alongside a beam of light, a thought experiment born not from equations, but from his imagination. "Imagination is more important than knowledge," he would later write, "for knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world." But here's what they don't tell you in the history books. Einstein's scientific breakthroughs came through moments of deep intuition, through what he called cosmic religious feeling, a profound connection to something beyond the material world. In 1930, Einstein published an essay titled Religion and Science, where he wrote, "The most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of all true art and science." He spoke of a cosmic religious sense that he considered the strongest and noblest motive for scientific research. Yet this Einstein, the spiritual seeker, the man who saw beyond the veil of physical reality, has been carefully hidden from us. Why? Because his complete vision challenges the mechanistic, materialistic worldview that keeps us small, that keeps us disconnected from our own power. When Einstein said, "Everything is energy and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want and you cannot help but get that reality," he wasn't just speaking about physics. He was revealing a profound truth about human consciousness, about your ability to shape your reality through the energy of your thoughts and emotions. Have you ever felt a moment of perfect clarity? A sudden knowing that transcended logic? Einstein lived for these moments. He trusted them more than any equation. "The only real valuable thing is intuition," he said. Yet how many of us have been taught to dismiss our intuition, to trust only what can be measured, quantified, proven? I wonder sometimes how many brilliant insights, how many solutions to our greatest problems have been lost because someone was afraid to trust that quiet voice within them. Einstein knew suffering intimately. His marriage collapsed. He was separated from his children. During the rise of Nazi Germany, he was targeted, his works burned, his life threatened. He fled his homeland, never to return. In those dark moments, it wasn't equations that sustained him. It was his connection to something greater. "In the midst of difficulty lies opportunity," he wrote. How many of us need that reminder today, that our darkest moments might contain the seeds of our greatest growth? After the atomic bomb, the devastating application of his work, Einstein was consumed with regret. "Peace cannot be kept by force," he wrote. "It can only be achieved by understanding." He spent his final years advocating not just for nuclear disarmament, but for a fundamental shift in human consciousness. And here we arrive at what they truly didn't want you to know. Einstein believed that the greatest power in the universe wasn't nuclear energy. It was the untapped potential of human consciousness, of love, of our connection to each other and to the cosmos. A human being is a part of the whole called by us universe, Einstein wrote, a part limited in time and space. He experiences himself, his thoughts and feelings as something separated from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of his consciousness. This delusion is a kind of prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires and to affection for a few persons nearest to us. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty. When Einstein said, "The distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion," he wasn't just describing relativity, he was pointing to a profound truth about the nature of reality itself. That time as we perceive it is not absolute, that perhaps all moments exist simultaneously, that our consciousness may be capable of transcending these limitations. I often wonder how my life would be different if I had learned this in school, if instead of memorizing formulas, I had been taught to cultivate my intuition, to trust my inner knowing, to see myself as Einstein saw each human being, as a node of consciousness in an infinite, interconnected universe. Einstein wrote, "The true value of a human being can be found in the degree to which he has attained liberation from the self. Yet our culture teaches us the opposite, to strengthen the self, to build the ego, to separate ourselves from others through competition and comparison." What if Einstein's greatest legacy isn't a scientific theory, but a way of being? A recognition that we are not separate from the universe. We are the universe becoming conscious of itself. When he said, "The most incomprehensible thing about the world is that it is comprehensible," he was pointing to the miracle of consciousness itself, that somehow the universe has evolved beings capable of understanding it, of appreciating its beauty, of asking why we are here. In his final years, Einstein became increasingly concerned with the spiritual implications of his discoveries. "Science without religion is lame. Religion without science is blind," he wrote. He sought a unified field theory not just in physics, but in human understanding, a way to reconcile our scientific knowledge with our spiritual longing. The night before he died, Einstein was working on a speech about the urgent need for human beings to transcend national identities and see ourselves as citizens of the cosmos. His last written words were about our interconnectedness, about the illusion of separation. And perhaps that's what they didn't want you to know. That the man who revolutionized our understanding of the physical universe believed that consciousness itself was the final frontier. That the greatest scientist of the modern era saw science and spirituality not as opponents, but as complementary paths to the same summit. Einstein didn't want his legacy to be bombs or even theories. He wanted to awaken us to our own potential, to the power of our minds, to our connection with all that is. "The true sign of intelligence," he said, "is not knowledge, but imagination." So tonight, when you look up at the stars, remember that the same atoms that burn in those distant suns are the atoms that make up your body, your brain, your consciousness. remember that the universe is not just outside you, it is you. And perhaps in that remembering, you'll feel what Einstein felt, that sense of wonder, that cosmic religious feeling, that recognition that you are not separate from the mystery, but an essential part of it. Einstein didn't want his discoveries to make us feel small. He wanted them to remind us of our vastness. A person starts to live, he said, when he can live outside himself. That's the truth they couldn't hide. That's what Einstein really wanted you to know. Perhaps the greatest mystery isn't what Einstein discovered about the universe, but what the universe discovered through Einstein. In those quiet moments when you feel most alone, remember that the same cosmic intelligence that flowed through him flows through you. Your intuition, your wonder, your capacity to love, these aren't accidents of evolution, but glimpses of what we truly are, consciousness experiencing itself in human form. Einstein knew this truth, and now, so do you. If this message resonated with something deep within you today, please share your thoughts in the comments below. How has Einstein's hidden wisdom touched your life? And if you're seeking more truths that have been hidden from view, subscribe to our channel for weekly journeys into the mysteries they don't want you to know. Together, we'll rediscover what it means to be fully human in a universe of infinite possibility. Thank you for being part of this cosmic conversation. Your presence here matters more than you know.